Alright, so we're having the P0011 code. I feel like we've done everything to fix it. It's not working out. This video might help you, I don't know. So most of the time when you get a P0011, I'm talking about this solenoid here. Right? It's the intake side, the VVT solenoid. Be right here. One bolt comes right out, disconnect the connector. A lot of you guys maybe have tried that and it's not working. So the other thing it could be is the VVT sensor itself, the intake side. It's right there. Unplug, one bolt, pops right out, right here. The exhaust one is right here. Exhaust solenoid, right here. So you've done those things and it's still not working. Other things it could be is low oil pressure, dirty oil. So you may want to change your oil filter, change the oil, and see how that does. Maybe run some seafoam through it, flush it out, and see if that helps. I did all that, didn't work. Had the P0011 code on and off for about a year and a half. Couldn't figure it out. The other thing I thought it could have been is inside the oil filter housing. There's a little plunger at the bottom that goes kind of in and out, up and down, and that can affect oil pressure if it wears out or not. I wish I could show you guys it, but I can't. I thought that could have been it. Maybe it was affecting my oil pressure, but ended up not being that. I also thought it might have been the oil pump, which is under this, essentially down there, but you got to do a lot of work to get to it. Maybe that was wearing out, but I wasn't getting a low oil pressure light or anything. We're just getting the P0011. So I actually fixed it after a long time. Finally got it smogged, and the way I did it was interesting. So I changed out all the timing parts, timing belt, tensioners, pulleys for the serpentine and the timing, and thought that maybe the timing was off. So I took it apart over and over again, readjusted timing, making sure that the dots were where they were supposed to be on the gears themselves. Yeah, and this is what it looked like when I had my timing belt done and everything was taken off. You can see the dots are aligned. Dot on the right is supposed to be a bit lower than the one on the left, but anyways, I kept redoing this job over and over. The sprockets that are right here, and that didn't help. And I did buy all OEM parts. When I'm doing work like this, I always go OEM. I don't go aftermarket just because it's not a job that you want to redo more than once. But that didn't help. And what ended up fixing it was actually the intake sprocket itself. So I ordered the actual OEM GM sprocket, and what I noticed is that, if you look here, the new part from GM says, and I'm not saying that it's because it says this, it didn't work, but it's just something I noticed. It says in a China, which again, I'm not saying is the reason it went bad, it's because it was made in China, but it's just something I noticed. So spent some time at the junkyard and pulled a couple, about actually 4 of them, intakes from some junk cars, and if you can see, they all said made in Germany, right? So figured, who knows, maybe, I don't know, maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't, but I was tired of doing the work over and over again, so I decided to, also got some more of the solenoids, decided to swap it out with one from the junkyard and put it in and see if it would fix it. And lo and behold, it did. P0011 light has been off ever since then. Now, I would say that if you haven't done the oil change, your oil's dirty, you haven't changed the solenoid, haven't changed the sensor, I would say start with those. They're much easier, and most of the time it will be the solenoid. Or if you have a low oil pressure light at the same time, you maybe need to add some oil, clean your oil. Maybe you have a leak somewhere that you're just kind of lingering on or lagging on. You might want to get that taken care of. But the other thing to keep in mind is this. Inside, behind the sprocket, you're going to see this sleeve. right? Let me clean it up. This sleeve right here, okay? This sleeve goes into the sprocket on the back side. Now, for example, it would go like this, essentially, inside the back of the gear. Now, what I noticed is that when I took out the other one I had, this sleeve kind of had some play to it. It would go like this while it was inside the hole. Maybe it's better if I take this out and show you guys. Give me a second. This is the back of the gear now. If you noticed, this, you know, it can go in either way. There's no, like, one side goes one way. It's all the same. But you push it in here, right? I push that in there, and I push it in. As you can see, it still moves a little bit. Look at this. If I go like this, it can rotate a little bit. You see that? And I didn't know if that was normal or not. So I went through a couple of them, and if I noticed that if I usually flip it around, it'll have more of a snug fit. Look at this. If I push this part in, so much oil, sorry. There you go. So I push that in, you could even hear it pop. I don't know if you heard it, but it pops. Now look. I can't move that at all. If I move it, I move the entire gear. See that? So that's something else I noticed. So what I did was I actually swapped this with a brand new one to see if that would fix it. So I'm either concluding that either it was the sleeve that was worn out or the gear itself, the new one from GM, just came defective. And maybe if I would have ordered another one from them, even though it said it was made in China, it would still have functioned as it should have. Or maybe just the Germany part. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just something with the Germany piece that works better just because I see so many people with this issue. I'm not sure. Definitely not saying, you know, because of where it was made was impacting the quality. I'm just saying that it's worked for me. But yeah, definitely look into this piece if you're still having the code, this little sleeve here. And then also consider changing out the gear again if you've tried everything else and it's just not fixing it. All right. I've also read about some people increasing the viscosity of their oil to solve the problem with the P0011 or low oil pressure. And I've heard them have some success with it. I actually tried that. As you can see, I got some 10W40. I even did 10W30. Tried those and it didn't work. I think that is good if your issue is with oil pressure or if maybe like the gears in the oil pump are worn out. I think that could definitely help with that. Anything that has to do with low oil pressure, but didn't work for me. So yeah.